Have you ever noticed that the people who drain you the most are often the ones you're trying hardest to help? It starts quietly with small favors, emotional guilt, and endless thank yous. But slowly, without realizing it, your energy becomes their fuel and your peace becomes their price. You keep giving not because they deserve it, but because you can't stand watching them suffer. And that's how they trap you. Not with anger, not with force, but with need. What if I told you some people don't actually want your help? They want your attention, they want your energy, they want to keep you in their story as the savior they can blame when things still go wrong. And until you learn to recognize these people, you'll keep mistaking emotional manipulation for love and dependency for connection. There's a certain kind of person who walks through life wearing the armor of a victim. Every difficulty they face becomes a story of how the world wronged them. Every setback becomes proof that the universe is unfair. You'll notice something interesting about them. They're not really asking for help. They're asking for validation of their pain. And if you try to guide them, if you offer even a glimpse of a way forward, they'll find a reason to reject it. Because responsibility terrifies them. Responsibility means they might be part of their own suffering. It means admitting that some of their pain isn't punishment, it's a consequence, and that's a truth many people aren't ready to face. When you step in to help someone like this, you think you're doing the right thing. You give them advice, resources, your time, your emotional energy. But after a while, you begin to notice they're not rising, they're just leaning. They take your strength and use it as a crutch, not a catalyst. You become their emotional scaffolding, holding up a structure that was never meant to stand this way. This is why sometimes helping becomes harm. You delay their awakening. You protect them from the very experience that could have made them grow. And the truth is, some people only change when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the fear of changing. Until then, your help only shields them from reality. So what do? You stop carrying what was never yours. You step back, not out of coldness, but out of clarity. You stop trying to save those who are not yet ready to be saved. Let life teach them what words cannot. Let consequences shape them in ways compassion never could. You can hold space for someone without holding their burden. You can care deeply without rescuing repeatedly. True compassion doesn't mean absorbing another's suffering. It means trusting their capacity to rise through it. And when you finally understand this, you stop trying to be their savior and start becoming their mirror, the one that reflects back the truth they keep running from. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is to stop saving them. You'll often meet people who speak of change as if it's a dream they've already given up on. They'll tell you how unhappy they are, how unfair life has been, how everything seems stuck. Yet, if you look closely, you'll see they've built a home inside their own misery. They complain not to move forward, but to stay exactly where they are. Their pain has become their comfort zone. It gives them identity, it gives them attention, and in a strange way, it gives them control. When you try to help them, you'll notice a pattern. You share ideas, they find reasons why those won't work. You suggest solutions, they explain why it's too hard, too late, or not for them. They are not seeking transformation, they're seeking validation of their stagnation. They want to be seen as the one who suffers, not the one who overcomes. And this is where you must be careful, because constant exposure to someone's self-inflicted helplessness slowly drains you. Their emotional heaviness begins to cloud your clarity. You start feeling responsible for their happiness, and before you know it, you're investing energy into a cycle that was never meant to end. Real help is not about feeding someone's comfort. It's about awakening their courage. You can listen, you can empathize, but you must not enable. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is to hold a mirror up and say, I hear your pain, but what are you willing to do about it? Because complaining without action is a decision. It's a declaration that comfort matters more than change. Growth doesn't begin with motivation, it begins with honesty. And honesty demands that we stop using our struggles as excuses to stay small. You can't lift someone who's committed to sinking. And if you keep trying, eventually you'll drown beside them. So learn to step back, not out of judgment, but out of respect for both your peace and their path. You can love someone deeply and still refuse to participate in their cycles, because some people don't need another listener, they need silence. They need space to finally hear their own excuses echo back at them. And that silence, more than your sympathy, might be the very thing that wakes them up. There's a quiet danger in people who disguise manipulation as kindness. They don't shout, they don't demand, they gently pull. They study your empathy like a map and learn exactly where to press. They know you value peace, so they weaponize your desire to avoid conflict. They know you feel responsible for others, so they twist that responsibility into obligation. Before you realize it, you're doing things not because you want to, but because you're afraid of disappointing them. These people don't steal from you in obvious ways. They take little by little your time, your focus, your energy, until you start questioning yourself. They make you believe that saying no is an act of betrayal. They speak in guilt, not gratitude, and the more you give, the smaller you become. At first, you tell yourself you're being kind, you're helping, you're showing compassion, but there's a difference between compassion and control, and this kind of relationship erases that boundary. When someone manipulates through kindness, they are not asking for love, they're demanding compliance. They want you to prioritize their comfort over your truth. If you keep helping them, you reinforce the illusion that their happiness depends on you. But no one should hold that kind of power over another person. True connection grows from freedom, not fear. And genuine kindness never asks you to betray yourself in order to keep someone else calm. At some point, you have to reclaim your energy. You have to recognize that boundaries are not walls, they're doors. They let in what's healthy and keep out what's harmful. And yes, setting them will disappoint the manipulator. They'll call you selfish. They'll say you've changed. But that's only because they can no longer control the version of you that kept them comfortable. This is the test of emotional maturity: to love without losing yourself, to give without being used, and to care without being controlled. Remember this: love is not measured by how much you sacrifice. It's measured by how much truth you preserve in the process. And if your kindness becomes the leash that someone uses to lead you, it's not kindness anymore, it's captivity. So loosen the grip and walk free. There are people who say they want to grow, but deep down, they are terrified of what growth demands. They speak about change like it's something they admire from afar, but when it finally knocks on their door, they retreat. Because growth is not gentle. It asks for honesty, discomfort, and sometimes the loss of everything familiar. And for many, that's too high a price to pay. When you try to help someone like this, you'll feel the resistance. You'll share new perspectives, and they'll nod politely, but nothing shifts. They cling to their patterns because those patterns make them feel safe. Their fears are louder than their faith. You become the one carrying both your progress and their hesitation. You start to feel like you're dragging them uphill, while they quietly wish you'd stop walking so fast. The truth is, not everyone who walks beside you wants to climb with you. Some are afraid of what your growth will reveal, not about you, but about themselves. Your evolution threatens their comfort. It holds up a mirror to their stagnation, and so they resist. They question you. They doubt your choices, not because you're wrong, but because your courage exposes their fear. If you stay too long in that space, you begin to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. You slow down, you hold back, you silence your voice just to maintain the connection. But understand this, no relationship that requires you to stay small is meant to last. Growth is not a group activity. It's a solitary journey. You can invite others to join, but you cannot carry them when they refuse to walk. Sometimes love looks like distance. Sometimes support means stepping away, allowing others to find their own rhythm, their own awakening. There's a quiet wisdom in walking alone for a while, because the higher you climb, the clearer the air becomes, and not everyone is ready to breathe that deeply. So don't dim your light to make others feel at ease in their darkness. Keep growing, even if it means outgrowing. Because those who truly belong with you won't fear your rise, they'll rise with you. And those who don't were never meant to follow you to the mountain's peak. There's a certain energy you can sense from people who live for chaos. It's not always obvious at first. They might appear passionate, expressive, full of life. But underneath that intensity lies an addiction to emotional turbulence. Peace feels foreign to them. Silence feels threatening. So when things begin to calm down, they unconsciously create a storm to feel alive again. These individuals are drawn to drama the way fire needs oxygen. Conflict gives them identity. Chaos gives them purpose. If everything becomes still, they're forced to face themselves, and for many, that's the scariest thing of all. They'll stir up arguments, exaggerate problems, or misinterpret words just to feel that emotional rush. And if you're not careful, you'll be pulled right into it. The trap here is empathy. You'll try to reason with them, to show understanding, to bring peace. But peace cannot survive where drama is worshipped. The more you offer calm, the more they resist it. Because what they truly crave is not harmony, it's attention. They equate intensity with connection. They believe love must always hurt, that relationships must always burn to feel real. When you engage with that energy, you begin to lose yourself. You start anticipating the next explosion, living in emotional survival mode. You stop being yourself and start becoming a character in someone else's chaos. And that's when you must remember, you are not responsible for keeping someone entertained through conflict. The wisest thing you can do is to step out of their storm. Let them dance with their own thunder. Let them learn that silence is not emptiness, it's healing. You can't save a person who mistakes peace for boredom. You can only embody calmness so deeply that their chaos no longer finds a place to land. There's a powerful freedom in not reacting, in choosing stillness where noise is expected. It's not weakness, it's mastery. It's the art of no longer feeding what drains you, because some people will never find peace until they run out of people to disturb. And your detachment, quiet, firm, and unwavering, might just be the mirror that shows them it's time to stop living in the storm. There's a certain kind of person who treats every act of kindness like a transaction. They don't see generosity as love, they see it as currency. They keep silent ledgers in their minds, recording what they've given, what they've received, and what they believe you owe. Their relationships are built not on connection, but on calculation. And when your giving no longer benefits them, their loyalty disappears as quickly as it began. At first, these people seem appreciative. They thank you, they flatter you, they make you feel seen. But underneath that surface lies an unspoken condition, a belief that everything has a price. They offer affection when it's convenient and withdraw it when it's not. Their kindness isn't kindness at all. It's a contract written in invisible ink. When you continue to give to such people, something subtle happens within you. You start questioning your own motives. You begin to wonder if you're doing enough, if you've failed them somehow. Their emotional withdrawal becomes a form of punishment, and you find yourself giving more, hoping to earn back what should have been genuine in the first place. But you cannot buy authenticity. You cannot negotiate sincerity. True relationships, whether friendship, love, or mentorship, are not built on exchange. They are built on mutual respect and presence. When giving becomes conditional, it ceases to be love, it becomes business. And no matter how emotionally intelligent you are, if you stay in that dynamic too long, it will quietly erode your sense of self-worth. The lesson here is simple, yet difficult. Stop giving to those who only know how to take. Not because you've stopped caring, but because you finally understand the difference between being generous and being used. You can still wish them well from a distance. You can still have compassion without remaining a participant in their pattern. At some point, you must stop keeping the accounts for those who never plan to repay in respect. Because the moment you stop trying to earn love, you begin to experience what real love actually feels like: effortless, unconditional, and free from the burden of expectation. Remember this: genuine hearts don't measure, they give, and that's how you'll know who truly values your presence and who only values your use.